It is a royal victory because chasing 198 to do it with 1 over to spare.
And 7 wickets in hand.
7 wickets in hand. 121 run stand between Dhruv Jurel and Sanju Samson.
Sanju what?
Sanju Vishwanath Samson. And 71 of 33 balls, including 7 fours and 4 sixes. Finishing the game off in style, Dhoni-esque way, a 6 on the leg side, and wow, look at the way how Sanju Samson managed to ensure that it was truly a remarkable victory, and because of this...
But look at that celebration.
Yeah.
I have never ever seen Sanju Samson this passionately celebrate getting a victory. It's almost as if, he's
getting an indication.
He is aware of the chatter. He is aware of the chatter. Listen, I have never ever seen him celebrate a win like that ever.
Yep.
Never mind a win. I've seen him. Does he have an IPL 100?
He does have an IPL 100.
I do not recall him getting even 100 and celebrating like that. But man, finishing the game off with a 6 and talking about and that sort of a reaction.
Are the stars aligning?
I really hope it does, because I think that's the one big talking point you've gotten out of today's game, right?
And they should align. If not now, then I don't know when they will, because what's been the one criticism of Sanju Samson season after season in the IPL? That he gives you starts, then that form tapers and it doesn't come back again. So he always has that middling sort of an IPL. Now this time around, not only is he leading the side, which he has been now for a while now, but he got those runs at the start as well. First 2 matches was again a Sanju Samson start to the season, got you runs, promising. Then a couple of matches that he didn't, but then he does come back again. We're talking that he'll need about these many runs to be able to be there in the contention, Sanju Samson, and of course this will largely be our point of discussion today, because what he's done is he's reminded everyone that if KL can, Sanju also can.
We'll come to the Sanju versus KL situation, because that's going to dominate most of the post-match today, because you're also building up to the T20 World Cup squad selection that's going to happen.
It's also a day where you've seen the other contender, which many believe is the front runner, who played the earlier game as well. His team also ended up winning that match.
But his batting, a lot of questions. So we'll have a debate in that sense as to KL, if you look at KL, Sanju and Rishabh Pant. Okay. Now, before we come to that, a quick summation. KL Rahul's tactics, I think, was very baffling today. Getting in, you didn't bowl a Marcus Stoinis who had gotten the wicket of Yashasvi Jaiswal. Just 1 over, 1 for 3. Keeping Ravi Bishnoi for far too late and getting tonked. I mean, Krunal Pandya, kudos to him. 4 overs, none for 24. Fantastic bowling from him. Mohsin also having an off day, and Ravi Bishnoi 1 over for 16. And that ensured KL Rahul just did not have any kind of hope, and that's why Lucknow Super Giants lost with 1 over to spare.
I mean, if you're looking at it, by the way, it was very much an innings of 2 halves, because in the first innings we saw the spinners really struggle, right? I mean, they gave away a combined 80 runs, got just 1 wicket. In this particular case, yeah, sure, they got 1 wicket, but if you're looking at the 2 spinners who really bowled well, that is a Krunal Pandya and Amit Mishra, to give away 44 runs
in 6 overs.
6 overs with a wicket. I mean, Krunal himself, by the way, we were casting aspersions or doubts as to whether or not he would take the field. He took the field, bowled his 4 overs at an economy rate of 6. That's phenomenal. Having said that, yes, I mean, we can talk about and we will in a bit talk about, let's say, the differences between KL Rahul, the wicketkeeper bat, and Sanju Samson, the wicketkeeper bat. But as far as captaincy goes today, yeah, Rahul's tactics left a lot to be desired. You could see that the likes of Mohsin and Yash were struggling for the most part.
8 overs, 102.
You persisted with both of them. They didn't really give you much. One of their overs, or at least if not one, then maybe 2 of the overs could have been shaved off for a Marcus Stoinis, who in his 1 over gave away just 3 runs and got a wicket. He then didn't bowl after that.
And you could have bowled more of Bishnoi and Mishra, rather than, because the Pacers were getting tonked about totally, and 8 overs for 102, and that too the Yash Thakur wicket that he got of Josh Butler. How did he miss that full toss? I don't understand.
It was a very lucky wicket, because again, it was a full toss going down leg stump, and Butler actually, if he had stayed in his stance, would have probably just flicked it easily, but because he kind of walked across, it wasn't that easy. He didn't get back to it.
So
I think that ball deserved to be punished. Truth be told, had his feet been rooted, you don't often say that it's a good thing that your feet stay rooted. But had he stayed in the place, had he continued with his guard and not moved across, that ball had to be finding somewhere in the stands. It had to be found somewhere there because it was full toss by the end of it. Yes, it hit the toe of the leg stump, but had he been there and knocked out across, it was a full toss which had to be then dispatched on the leg side.
And that is why LSG, okay, Mishra got a wicket, but then after that they just allowed the game to drift away. I mean, just the next, you may say 10.2 overs got them the victory.
Yeah, because they got Riyan Parag in the 9th over, but after that you didn't get another wicket. And again, I don't understand the tactic. You didn't turn to Bishnoi at all. When did he bowl his first over? It was much later.
I think
in
it
the game.
bowled the 14th or the 15th over.
By that point, the game was already pretty much done. And I feel sorry for Bishnoi because again, he was put in a no-win situation. 14th, 15th over is practically before the death.
I'll have to check though, 14th, 15th. I will just
because at that point, Sanju Samson was well set. Jurel was well set.
I think Yash Thakur is somebody who was overbowled today. We
so
know,
was Mohsin.
So we know that he doesn't have a lot of variations anyway. Yash Thakur, I know he got a fifer the other day and he's shown some sort of promise. But you ask between the two bowlers who gives you a little bit more, let's say, with the ball, I'm definitely given, despite those 16 runs. It's not that I'm not turning after that 16 over. It's like, Kuldeep today, he didn't have a good day. Clearly, he was struggling. Second over as well, he got smacked around. But did the captain not turn to him for a third over? If he is that good a spinner, I am definitely turning to him no matter what.
And yeah, see, Bishnoi is not at that level yet, but he has been a match winner.
But for this team, he is.
Yes, he is. So, yeah, baffling tactics from KL Rahul. Will be interesting to see what he says in the post-match presentation. So, Lucknow's win. I mean, the loss that Lucknow
What does that do to the table? Can we have a look at the table?
Yeah, we will, because what that has done is Rajasthan Royals are all but assured of the playoff spot. They have got 16 points now, 6-point gap with the remainder of the teams.
I mean, they get one more win and then there's a queue in front of their name.
Absolutely.
So they'll be the first team to have qualified.
This win for Rajasthan Royals is a lifeline for all the other teams, because Kolkata, Sunrisers, Lucknow, today Lucknow, they have also, their net run rates taken a hit, by the way. And if you look at it, Delhi Capitals, big lifeline for them, given a lifeline given for CSK, GT, Punjab and Mumbai also, because for the second, third and fourth spot, you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams separated by just 4
but
points.
I wouldn't put Punjab and Mumbai in that bracket because I think the points gap is significant. I would put CSK and to an extent GT, especially GT, because correct me if I'm wrong, but they're playing tomorrow against
versus RCB, yes.
So that will be an interesting game, because if GT can get the win, then they're also up in that scramble with 10 points. I mean, sure, their net run rate's terrible, but points wise, they're very much
And if CSK beat SRH, they also get to 10.
And GT Delhi would be, looking exactly similar in terms of win-loss ratio as well.
Yep.
Exactly the same number of games, the same win-loss ratio, the same sort of logjam that they'll find themselves in. And it's the kind of season that both have had. They've shown good performances. Then there's been an 89 all out. Then in terms of Delhi, let's say consistently conceding over 200 on a couple of occasions, 250 runs as well. So, excuse me. That's been the kind of season, and continuity is one thing that's eluded both of them. But interesting. Now this does something very interesting to the table.
If CSK beat SRH and GT beat RCB tomorrow, it'll do two things. You'll then have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams tied on 10 points, and even mathematically then RCB are out, because on 12 points they can't make it to the playoffs. They just can't, because out of the 6 teams, 3 will at least get to 12.
Then maybe that result actually puts a queue in front of Rajasthan's name. Because you've got to realize it's not just about Rajasthan winning, but the more and more teams at the bottom half or whatever churns happening in the middle as well, that eliminates the option of one of these teams coming up on top. So that effectively means that the queue gets there in front of their name rather sooner than we think.
So this logjam that you're going to see, even on Sunday, it's going to intensify. Maybe one team might be mathematically ruled out also, depending on the game, because GT RCB is the day game, CSK SRH is the night game that's going to happen in Chepauk. So if CSK win that, oh boy, then be prepared for chaos. But then the elephant in the room now, okay? We have seen 2 games today, DC versus MI, and LSG versus RR. Why this game was very, very important. The two games which are important for the three wicket-keeper batters who were under the scanner. Rishabh Pant, Sanju Samson, KL Rahul. And this is where we are going to devote most of the discussion on, because it's just going to be 3 more days now until the T20 World Cup squad selection. All the former cricketers have given their views and opinions about it. Today, AajTak was there in the post-match, in the DCMI game. He was there in Delhi because he's going to have a meeting and then decide the squad. Today, Pant's performance, KL's performance, and Sanju's performance. Gentlemen, I throw the floor open. Whoever wants to begin assessing each and every performance, after the end of today, are you seeing a crystallization of who are your 2 wicket-keeper batters for the T20 World Cup is, or do you think the conundrum is going to happen even on 30th, because LSG play on 30th versus MI?
See, I think you already know one of those guys who's going. Pant seems to be locked in based on not only reports that we've heard, but the fact that he's also been name-checked very clearly by the secretary of the board. That's not something that happens if they're just looking at him as a backup option. So I do think Pant is locked in. Do I agree with the decision? No, but I know it's going to be going that way. So I mean, fair enough. What much can I do about it? That being said, I think more than anything else, the battle in the second game was always going to be directly about who would be that second choice, or who gets to fill that second slot. Was it going to be a Sanju Samson, or if KL Rahul magically suddenly put himself back into the public memory, which he did, but got outshadowed? That's the thing. For me, I don't think KL should be a factor, quite frankly, because, well, he's not played a T20I since 2022. The end of 2022, the last game he played was, of course, that infamous semi-final. I don't think he should be in consideration just like that. I would rather stick with Sanju, because he's given me, I mean, sure, yeah, he's also scoring those runs out of position, but I've seen consistent intent with him. He doesn't look to stick around. With Pant, more often than not, he will tend to try and stick around for a bit before then cutting loose. That acceleration, or that, it's not straight onto 4th gear and then into 6th. He'll start on 1st, 2nd, take his time, then really kick off. But with Sanju, more often than not, he tends to just go. And even there, towards the end of the match, he was just going. He was not looking at who the bowler was, and he was going for it. So for me, debate should not even exist. But if there was any, this match puts an end to it. Sanju Samson for T20 World Cup.
Harshit?
I'll just take that forward by saying that, the one name of the 3 names that you mentioned clearly has had the edge. Even at the start of the debate, even at the start of the IPL 2024 edition, it was said that, there are some batters, and I remember saying this here, there are some batters, it's widely believed that some batters will have to move mountains, get the stars in the moon perhaps, and be doing this much to be able to get into the Indian squad. There are some who will not have to move mountains, let's say. The thing is, and when we were talking about this, Rishabh Pant was part of it. Rishabh Pant was at the center of this whole conversation. It was said largely for Rishabh Pant because there was a wave of emotional support that he was getting. He is an X-factor player. There is a little amount of sympathy as well with him. But Rishabh Pant has the runs also. If you were to think that Rishabh Pant is just about the other factors and not runs, that's not true. Rishabh Pant, the wicket-keeper, by the way, has superseded Sanju Samson and KL Rahul as well. KL Rahul, I remember, took a very good catch the previous match. And, both the keepers have been very good in their own right. Sanju Samson effected that no-look run-out just about a couple of games back. So, wicket-keeping wise, the other 2 competitors are also good. But Rishabh Pant, I think, has been the better wicket-keeper amongst the 3 of them. As far as runs are concerned, he is the 2nd highest run-getter as we speak in the race for the orange cap. So, we were expecting it to be an okay or a half-decent sort of a season for Rishabh Pant at the halfway stage when the team was to be announced. And that'd be enough for him to be there on that plane to the US and the Caribbean. He's exceeded all of that, and I think his name, is the first one over there in that wicket-keeper batter slot that you're looking at. 2 slots, unless of course India be adventurous and take just 1 wicket-keeper and the other is your travelling reserve, which I don't think will be a prudent thing to do. But looking at 2 slots, I think one's definitely the one grabbing the spot first is Rishabh Pant. Who's the second one? Because now you're looking at Sanju Samson. There is KL Rahul in the conversation as well. For me, there is a Jitesh in the conversation as well. And why I'll say Jitesh also, Reason being very simple. I've said it umpteen times. He's the only one actually playing the role for which there is a vacancy in the Indian team. The other two are getting runs, but they're getting runs out of position. How much that matters to me, it doesn't matter much if you were to ask me personally, because that's like me studying for, let's say, an exam. If I was to give my board exam, I'm studying for math, but I have to eventually appear for a science exam. Yeah. It's a different audition altogether that I'm giving at the moment. I'm talking about Sanju Samson, Rishabh Pant right now, but that's just my feeling. Amongst the three of them, the other one that clearly has an advantage, and I'm not looking at KL Rahul over here, because KL Rahul's opening, which is another thing altogether. Sanju, we've seen, has batted mostly 3, but 4 also at times. Rishabh Pant today also, I think, batted at number 4, and we've seen him bat 5 as well. A couple of occasions when you've seen an Abhishek Porel get an odd promotion, let's say. So these two also batting out of position, but the volume of runs. Sanju Samson today scored a match-winning knock. Yes. KL Rahul, you could argue, also had a good day with the bat against Chennai the other day at Chepauk. No, at Chepauk. Did he not score a 50 there?
He scored a 50 at Ekana.
At Ekana.
Yeah, 82 or 53.
Yeah, 82. Sorry, my bad. At Ekana, yes. So that was a wonderful knock as well. We know he's got a couple of 50s to show for. But I'm sorry, he is opening, and I don't think he should be part of the conversation, as Shane also earlier said. The two leaders right now, and I will go far enough to say that Rishabh Pant's definitely grabbing that first spot. The second has to be Sanju's today's knock. I'm happy for him as an individual, by the way. For Sanju Samson, the cricketer, I'm happy for him because he's had to struggle a lot. He's finally delivering when it really matters. What was our fear with Sanju Samson at the start of the tournament? That, don't squander your chances this time. You scored 100 coming into the IPL, albeit in a different format. But format mixing has been done too often with Sanju Samson. He's not made the most of his chances in the shortest format of the game, playing for India. This was his only chance, and he's made it count. And if there is somebody, going by how the BCCI looks at these candidates, deserves amongst the three of them, I think it should be Sanju Samson.
But it's interesting you mentioned that ODI 100, because I think, and again, you can say, call it a cynical thing or call it a bit of a shot in the dark, but I do think that is exactly what led to him getting that T20 I recall in the first place.
Yes.
Because even when he was previously, when the other games were happening, of course there was another stroke of luck that happened, was the whole Ishan Kishan fallout.
Yes.
Because otherwise Ishan was normally the second wicket-keeper choice in the bilateral T20Is that you play. But once Ishan dropped out of contention, they needed someone who'd be a direct backup to Jitesh. Yeah. And they're like, okay, we've asked Sanju to play at 5 or 6 maybe won't make that much of a difference. So let's put Sanju there in the team and see what it is that he can do. Thankfully for him, what he's done is grab his IPL opportunity, because we know that is a benchmark and that is a yardstick. We know that very, very well. It has been the case for a while. So the one good thing that he's done is grab that opportunity, because again, he's shown consistency. It's 9 matches in, he's gotten you 385 runs already. Normally his seasons go 400 odd, and you look at it and it's a good season, but considering where he's batting, he should be getting 500-600 runs. This time he finally seems like he's on course to do that, and look at that strike rate, 161, phenomenal.
So your two candidates are Rishabh Pant and Sanju Samson. Same, even for you it's Rishabh Pant and Sanju Samson. Okay.
Of these three. Otherwise, those videos are out and we've all made our picks. But as far as those in contention and these three that we're talking about, then it's these two.
Yeah, you can check it out. Now, after the game today, now I'll give my 2 bits on it also. See, Sanju Samson, I mean, one subscriber was indeed mocking you, wasn't Shane? Who's second in the points table?
And who's going to the World Cup?
Now,
Sanju Samson.
It is Sanju Samson with 385 runs, 161 amongst the wicketkeeper contenders. He's the best amongst the lot. Even average, if you have to look at it, he's the best amongst the lot. What more can Sanju Samson do?
He's also got the best strike rate, by the way, in the top 4.
Yes, he has. Because the 5th one is a Sunil Narayan with 184. And if you extend it to the top 7 or 8, he's definitely there as one of the top.
How pleasing is it, by the way, to see all Indians in the top 4? That doesn't usually happen.
Oh, I thought you'd make a joke and say all Indians in the top 7.
Yeah.
That joke would have been cracked somewhere else.
Yes, it could have been. So, Sanju Samson now, he's had to do what he had to do. Now, I don't think RR are playing any more games until first. I think after that, they play a couple of games after that. LSG are having one more game on 30th, on Tuesday. DC are having one more game on Monday against KKR.
Correct.
It gives Rishabh Pant and KL Rahul one more chance.
But do they? I think the question is, do they need another chance? Is there something that we've not seen already in 10 games from Rishabh Pant and 9 games from KL Rahul that we need to find out more?
Look, looking...
For me, the answer is no. I don't know what you guys have
For
to say.
me, the reaction that Sanju Samson gave, okay, after he hit that 6 and got the team home to a victory, okay, it wasn't probably... One factor was the team got to a win, okay, that's 10% of it. 90%, maybe in the backroom channels, that's what's been happening, the communication that has gone indirectly, or through other sources that Sanju Samson needs to do well today on 27th of April to get that boarding pass to the West Indies and the USA. Maybe today he said, have an impactful knock,
and you're in.
the ticket is sealed. He had an impactful knock, 71 at a strike rate of over 200. He finished the game off in a chase of 200. The reaction probably said, I think, as they say in that final step, Vijay, what is that? Vijay Path. That, huh? Which is that final step when you go, na? Vijay Path. Maybe he's gotten that Vijay Path. Perhaps now Sanju Samson, I hope the luck doesn't catch up with him. I do agree with you guys that yes, after this knock...
Luck doesn't catch up with him.
You mean he means bad luck doesn't catch up?
It's bad luck. I mean, it's twisted luck if you have to look at it. Because as you have
No
always...
luck. No luck.
Lack of luck.
In a T20 World Cup year, he'll play ODIs. In an ODI World Cup year, he'll play T20s. That's been the joke that's been going around, and it's been it's like a dark tragedy of Sanju Samson in that sense for 3-4 years.
I'd say it's a tragic comedy because you don't know whether you should laugh or cry. Thankfully, this time though, one good thing he did was ensure that he got that 100 against South Africa.
Yeah.
That slotted him back into contention once an Ishan Kishan had dropped out.
Yep. So 450s that Sanju has hit, all in different, you may say, situations that have come. And Rajasthan are on top of the table. Rishabh Pant on the other hand, now the problem with Rishabh Pant is when in the first show, the questions were asked whether you're worried about Rishabh Pant, I said I am worried because for 2 reasons. Those 371 runs actually hide a very dark undercurrent. The dark undercurrent is I cannot get going immediately. So in that sense, when you look at it, it is a very, very dark undercurrent that is there. I cannot get going immediately. I can't strike from ball 1 onwards.
But those then, in support of Rishabh Pant will say, okay, as they say with other cricketers as well, that what's the harm? I'm eventually finishing with the strike rate of about 160. I'm getting you 50s. I'm doing enough to take the team past 200 totals. Why don't you take that?
Well, but then see, that's been propelled up by other members in the Delhi top order.
It's often said that.
Okay. But the problem with Pant is he takes his own sweet time. Now, if you're batting at number 5 or number 6, can you take 5-6 balls and then begin to accelerate?
You can't. In fact, even 5-6 balls is a necessity because today he was, I think, 6 of 10 at one point.
Yeah.
So he does take his time. See, he makes up for it. But that is the hallmark of a good T20 batter for the middle order. Marcus Stoinis is another good example. He tends to take a little time, which is why I think for the Melbourne Stars is the BBL franchise he plays for. More often than not, they send him up to open. Why? He'll take 2 overs, figure out the conditions, get settled, then go for the kill. Then after that, he more than makes up for it, and you're also giving him more balls. That's what Pant is at this point in time. He's a proper middle order 3-4 batter, and I don't think you need a 3-4 batter. Yeah. Sure, Sanju you can say has also batted there a lot, but this is the same Sanju Samson who worked on his game specifically to become a finisher because he was told by the Indian team that listen, if you want to play for the Indian team, you need to be working on your finisher role. Otherwise, then forget about it because you're not going to get a top order slot. That was never going to happen. He was revealed as
that
much.
Messaging was also given to him 2 years back.
And it was given to him for ODIs, but still it works. No, if you're finishing in ODIs or T20s, finishing is still finishing. Your approach is the same, that you have to go and whack. Simple. You need to take 2-3 balls at most and then you need to whack. That's it. You don't have any other choice. And he himself said recently that when he was being interviewed, by the broadcaster, he said that all I figured out about T20 cricket now is that you don't need to really think much. Just go there and hit. Get as many boundaries as you can. That's a good approach for a finisher. But with Pant, I haven't quite seen that. No doubt, the fact his strike rate's been excellent. Yeah, there's been a couple of failures over there, but I'll always put that down to the way he plays. Other than that, though, I want quick acceleration. I've not seen that from him. I've not seen that from KL either.
That's exactly why, despite the drought that Jitesh Sharma has gone through, and I don't remember the stat very clearly, but I remember, and it came from the website which we refer to as the Don Bradman of Indian cricket, that when you compare all these contenders, Jitesh tops the list when it comes to the most strike rate, having placed 10 balls.
Correct.
So he gives you the most runs while playing the first 10 deliveries, which is what acceleration is all about, which is what immediate acceleration is all about.
And who was second on that list? It was Sanju.
See? So again, if the Indian team can look at it more than the Indian team, if the selectors can look at it that way, that we are not looking at just piles of runs, it's also about the manner. If my need is that I get those 20 runs in 8 deliveries, and if Jitesh or whosoever can give me that, I'd rather take that guy. Yes, Jitesh has had an awful season and he's done little to remind the selectors how good is he. But it is on the back of the same reputation that he got into the Indian setup, made his debut as well, and it's just unfortunate that the last 4 weeks he's not been able to do what he's known for.
Exactly, and that's the thing. I mean, we as Indians, as Indian fans, selectors too, tend to get swayed by the bias of runs.
Yeah. Big runs. Don't look at the runs.
Big runs. But that's what they do, and that's the problem. Big runs. Oh, he's got 400 runs. We'll make him bat in the middle order. No problem. Class batter. Runs are runs. That's the excuse I've heard for KL Rahul. But it doesn't quite work like that. Yeah, sure, he may have done well in the middle order in, ODI cricket. But that's also because I think in ODI cricket, his template now, his batting template now is such that he also takes a little time. So then he'll do just fine in the middle order. But again, middle order bats in T20s and especially lower middle order, you don't get that time. You don't get that time.
See, with KL Rahul, the conundrum is that, okay, for his two big scores, hundreds that we are talking about, came in the middle order. When he started,
you're talking about for T20Is.
T20Is, yeah. And the T20 World Cup, see, 2 disastrous T20 World Cups doesn't help in his favor at all.
Yeah, 21 and 22.
It's been disastrous. Let's make no bones about it. Let's not sugarcoat it.
Yeah, 21, he had major failures in both the big games you had, which was Pakistan and New Zealand. Plundered runs against the minnows, but by that point, the die was cast. Your fate was sealed because you had to win one of those games to ensure you were qualifying, because you would walk the others. You walked the others, but you won neither of the big games. 2022, KL Rahul unfortunately became synonymous with maiden overs up front.
Yeah.
He takes strike and then play out a maiden, and I'm like, oh, you're playing a 19-over game. You didn't get a single run. That reputation really does work against him. But if there's one thing I've learned in recent times, is that reputations or those kind of reputations tend to be ignored rather quickly.
I'm worried about the communication and the intent that the selectors are actually looking at this point in time. Okay. The first major worry for me is that 5 months to go for the T20 World Cup, without any prior experience or without any kind of intimation, okay, you had a team that was in place for 1.5 years. What happened suddenly? You managed to break it down totally, and now you have a situation where Hardik Pandya is no longer the captain. You've gotten back to those 2 seniors that you got, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli.
Correct.
What happened in the Rohit Sharma Virat Kohli situation? They just walked back in. Was there any thinking? Was there any intent? Was there any logic behind it? No. Now, I will not be surprised if a KL Rahul makes it to the Indian cricket team for one simple reason.
We've seen it happen before.
There seems to be, you remember even in the 2023 World Cup build-up also, there was this thing. There is a core of players who they trust that guy to do very well, despite past failures. They want that guy to be there because there is a trust factor there. And KL Rahul fits that bill. Perfectly. And see, you did a video which suddenly set the cat amongst the pigeons in a very literal way. there is a report that KL Rahul might be selected.
At that point, at the point of that reportage, it was written that KL Rahul is believed to be slightly ahead of Sanju Samson, which really struck me as shocking because I'm like, are you just ripping up the team that you had built entirely? You've just reverted to type.
I mean, forget about ripping the team. When did they even make the team new?
No, they made the team
That
new.
actually you did, when you played that series against Afghanistan. You ripped everything apart that you'd achieved in the last 1 year, albeit nothing on the ICC front, but whatever little progress in bilaterals and as a cricketing nation you had made in that 1 year. It was in that 1 year that whole talk about aggression came into being. It was in that 1 year that we wanted to change the brand of cricket, quote unquote, that was being talked about, which was possibly done. And what did we do?
You did a U-turn. You didn't change the brand of
U-turn.
cricket. I mean, that is why I'm very worried. Looking as all of us, fine. You look at strike rate. That's a logical thing to do in a T20I. You also look at the position where you
are scoring those runs,
Okay. But are the selectors doing that? That is what I want to know.
No, they're not. And that's why if they were doing that, then Siddharth, we wouldn't be worried. There would be no worries about whether or not a Sanju Samson fits in. The fact that we're still worried tells you everything we need to know.
It is because of the BCCI's lack of planning or lack of foresight in the past 2 years. If you include a KL Rahul, if nothing's changed from 2022. That's the problem. If you get one individual, okay, suppose a Yashasvi comes in, okay, supposing. There is only one change from 2022. The rest of the batting order, the rest of the team has remained the same.
And there's no guarantee that Jaiswal will even play.
Yes.
What if they reach a point where they say, no, we'll open with Rohit Virat because we have to accommodate both of them. And that's the best spot to play. Yashasvi lad, sorry, you're young. You play the next World Cup.
You are, by that logic, you can just have KL Rahul play at number 3.
Yes.
Ah, wonderful.
Oh no, KL will open with Rohit Virat at 3. Then it doesn't sort out anything in that sense because
what's the change then?
There is no change. Moment you went back to Rohit and Virat in the T20I format in that one series, I could have understood, okay, they don't want to change the situation after the South Africa series. But you played with a very different team in South Africa, you played with a very different team in against Australia, citing workload management.
That was just after the World Cup.
After the World Cup.
And you played against South Africa also with a wholly different team, which was, led by Surya Kumar Yadav. If I'm wrong, he got that injury in that final T20I. And at that point, you're still thinking, okay, they're sticking to type. Then just 2-3 days before that Afghanistan series, you remember how much chaos it was when we were scrambling to find out. I mean, it was so bad. There was so little confirmation or intimation as to what's happening that the broadcasters for that particular series to promote it were alongside a picture of, who was the Afghanistan captain?
I think it was Nabi?
No, it wasn't Nabi. It wasn't Rashid either because he didn't play that series.
Asmatullah Shahidi.
Yes, Asmatullah. And alongside Asmatullah, you had Shubman Gill. And I'm like, okay, Shubman Gill? He's not even a captain.
Yeah.
But that's because they genuinely didn't know who the captain would be. Was it going to be Hardik? Was it going to be Rohit? No one had any idea.
Now, see, this is the problem. I am worried about the BCCI communication. And I'm worried about May 1. That's why it's aptly the
there
squad
can be no communication at all, as we've heard from so many players as well. Decisions are made, there's no communication one-on-one, and it's just one of those things that never gets mentioned again.
Whoever has been picked or axed in this T20 World Cup 2024 team, there will be lots of debate.
24 even.
Yeah, 2024, whatever is the squad that's going to be picked, whoever are the players omitted, there is going to be a major debate. Because the communication's never been there and you're reverted to type. Just one potential change. Out of the 16 that you played.
No, two, because there's no DK now also, no? They've moved past the old guard.
Okay, but then for 2 games there was Pant.
Pant was
Now,
there.
what if Pant?
I know,
Yeah.
I'm being sarcastic.
But again, we are talking about a 3. Okay, Rahul.
One's a force change, by the way, because you don't have Shami.
You don't have Shami.
And you've moved past Bhuvneshwar Kumar.
Yes. Okay, I'm talking about the batting. The batting has remained the same.
The batting has remained exactly the same.
We have not even discounted a DK, by the way, who's done in that same position of number 5 and 6. He's done better than a Jitesh or a Sanju.
It's very it's funny because we are wanting to say, okay, once bitten, twice shy. In the case of DK, which is why we're not going to take him now, but it doesn't apply to everything else. And it doesn't apply to everything else. You've reverted to everything, but in that case, no.
But DK is like, ye ho gaya.
Yeah.
Like, okay. What about others?
And there is one more thing.
Everything else. Yeah. Everything else. It just takes me back. And what was that one thing that was being talked about in the middle of the World Cup? I remember Nasser Hussain, and I think that was the best thing that came during commentary from the Cricket World Cup 2023, when Nasser said, and this was because DK had told Nasser about it, that after the 2022 World Cup defeat, Rohit Sharma said that we've got to change certain things. We've got to change the way we play the game. We've got to change the way something needs to change, because the 10 wicket defeat really, hit the Indian team hard. Which is why, did India not play the World Cup differently? Which is why weren't they the only team to have gone on that 10-match winning run as well, going to the final? Because Rohit Sharma was playing the way that he wanted his entire team to play, and it changed the way India was then posting totals or chasing totals down. In the T20 setup though, while Rohit would have said that, but Rohit was not there in that 1 year when T20 cricket was, but that was being adopted by the other team that was playing.
Also, I'll take you back one point further, because when Rohit became the captain, which was like end of 2021, start of 2022, he did actually speak about, trying to be more aggressive, this, that, and you saw that with the Indian team, but you saw it in bilaterals. Come the World Cup, you froze, you reverted to type yet again. Why? Because you had KL Rahul tuk-tuking around and playing out maidens. In the semi-final, Rohit got 27 of 26.
27 or 28 rather.
20.
He was less than 100 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So, these kind of knocks were being played. So, you talk the talk, but you didn't walk the walk. When it came down to it, you were still playing scared cricket, and that was the major difference. So, okay, in 23, you managed to reinvigorate that. But is that a guarantee that you'll be able to do it in T20s on a consistent basis? No, because formats.
Again, the feeling would have been there. The other lot of players that you were playing with, the other set was doing it series after series, and that's what you liked as an Indian cricket fan. Right now though, you've changed the personnel and you're expecting, okay, that same thing we now want it to happen with the same personnel who played the 2022 edition. Are we seeing the same personnel play that way, by the way, in the IPL? No.
It's old wine in a new bottle.
And before I come to the questions, the
broadcaster, by the way, doesn't even show the strike rate
certain times
of certain players, certain times, and then
you're
decides to show
obfuscating one more thing. Today they ran the caption, Delhi crush Mumbai.
It wasn't a crushing.
It wasn't crushing.
So a 10-run win is called a crushing. Okay, now you're selecting this bunch of players on the back of conditions which are absolutely as flat as a butcher's table. Okay, you've gotten runs on smaller grounds, flatter decks, boundaries are in. Good luck. Good luck in trying to figure out how on earth are you going to do it, because already the indications were there 5 months ago that we are not going to change, boss. This is in our Indian DNA. We don't want to change. We are resistant to change and we'll revert to the type. Oh, no. Personality matters, boss. Personality. They have to be there. That means you are young talent, you have absolutely zero confidence. No, if Rohit or Virat are not there, we will never win a cup. But boss,
you've not won a cup.
You've not won for 11 years with the same bunch of people. That's why I've always been day one. I can't get these two in. With the wicketkeeper debate, if a KL Rahul comes back in, sure, good player. But in 2 World Cups, he's just botched it up so horribly. Wasn't that an amber light of caution if that happens though? Sanju finally getting his due, but is it too late? Rishabh Pant, we don't know how he'll be in the international circuit and against better conditions.
Sanju, by the way, we might feel he's done enough and all, but let's not forget he may still not be in the 11.
We don't know about that.
He's competing against Rishabh Pant, who I don't know, and I don't know who, in this world or in this country would ready to bet their bottom dollar on Sanju Samson playing ahead of Rishabh Pant.
Because that's
can anyone do that? But you can do the opposite.
You can do the opposite, and that's what I love conflicts is like saying from the year. Sanju did his part. Whether he gets picked or not, this is the thing we have been reduced to. He's done his part to just get selected.
Or no, he's done his part. even if he doesn't get selected, you can't listen. If you ignore Sanju, hypothetically, big if you ignore Sanju and don't go by it, then you can't use the yardstick of, oh, his form tapered.
No.
Because it hasn't tapered. He's been phenomenally consistent with the bat. He's been phenomenally consistent as a captain, and it shows in the results that he's gotten with the team. 9 games, 8 victories, just the 1 defeat.
Yep.
And they are all but 1 result away from getting a Q in front of their name. They'll be the first team in there.
And that's the thing that Pranit Datta is saying. If Sanju is not your first choice keeper, even after this level of performance, and KL Rahul is picked, then it's height of unfairness.
Pranit, nothing more to add.
Sanju Samson will be so aggrieved after this if he doesn't make the 11 also.
Yeah.
Because for 1 year, where's the process now? Rishabh Pant was not there for unfortunate reasons, though. He wasn't there for the last 1 year.
But he wasn't there.
Exactly. Now, if you want to give someone their due and not just do okay or make up for what was done wrong in the past, then have it in you to play Sanju ahead of Rishabh Pant. Can you do that?
It can't happen.
And the thing with Pant is, lest we forget, this is a player who had actually lost his T20 spot.
Yes.
Because after the T20 World Cup, there was a lot of spotlight on him also. I remember they went for a series in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And he had a pretty terrible time. In fact, they were trying everything to make Pant work in T20s. I remember there were a couple of games they even sent him out to open. So, and it wasn't working. Unfortunately, after that, he had that accident. So, the thing was, but even before before that happened, there was a lot of talk that, listen, maybe the Pant experiment isn't quite working out. 60 or T20, strike rate of 125 ain't happening, boss.
That it was in England that he had a couple of good performances.
But again,
only in the
But
ODI.
ODI, yes, that 100, I think Old Trafford.
Final ODI that he played. And again, he mixed up formats there also.
Yeah. So again, it was those things that kept Rishabh in the in the fray always.
Look, you got a captain. Okay, our captain at this point, we all agree that one person is. His T20 World Cups have been woeful. His IPL has been very mixed. It's all been hidden because he won 5 titles. But he's had a very torrid run with the bat. Except this season at this point.
And even this season, by the way, is an improvement on his previous bang average seasons. Let's be very frank.
And it is heights. Then see, already, where is the IPL the standard selection criteria? Where is it the benchmark? A UCL will disagree with you. He had 2 good seasons. And somewhere down the line, I think a Sanju Samson is going UCL's way. Somehow, some way, I'm getting that feeling.
It's far worse because at least Sanju makes squads. With
No,
UC makes
squads.
Sanju doesn't even do that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just with players coming from RR.
I don't know. I mean, see, UCL is the biggest mystery, but tomorrow, I mean, by 1st May, if we don't have that, this platform is going to just explode. That's what Thomson De Cruz is saying. Sanju and Pant should be in T15 across all formats. But Thomson De Cruz, thank you for painting a beautiful utopia. Ideally, that should be the case. But boss, it's not happening. It can't happen because the selectors...
No, you got Jurel now. By the way, a word on Jurel. He was very good today.
First 50 today.
First 50 today. Got a bit of a promotion today. That is something that we've seen happen with him a couple of times. But looked in complete control and did his part in that partnership that we saw today.
But see, we counted him as one of the contenders.
He was possibly your 6th contender.
He was, but that was always 2 reasons. One, because it was early days and you were looking at him. And second, the recency bias from his showings in the test series were very, very fresh on the minds of many.
And it's fair. See, you were not sure how Rishabh Pant was going to turn up.
Exactly.
You weren't sure how Ishan Kishan, after that mental fatigue that he underwent. Sanju, there were question marks on everyone, let's say.
And the other major factor is Dhruv Jurel was competing with Sanju. Now in that same team,
he wasn't going to keep the wickets.
Exactly.
He never had a keeping audition.
I mean, if you're looking at it.
So you got ruled out then and there.
If you're looking at it, RR happened to be one of those teams who in their first choice batting lineup actually have 3 wicketkeepers. You've got Sanju, you've got Josh Butler, and you've got Dhruv Jurel. Unfortunately, Sanju Samson is the captain, so he's going to pull rank there and say, listen, I'm keeping the wickets, and that's fine. But, that was also another thing that did work a little bit against Jurel, because where was he keeping in limited in white ball cricket? He kept in tests and did rather well. But tests and T20s are different beasts.
The problem is, same team, he was not having a chance.
Yeah.
So, Satish B is like saying, I don't like generally Indian team filled with overrated superstars. I feel Samson should be there in the World Cup team.
And then follows up with some rather unkind things which we can't
Although
say.
the Rahul thing is, see, it's unfair. The criticism is kind of unfair because he never asked for it. The management is like having the faith.
No, but it's not like he didn't ask for it. He's done everything possible, and I agree. It's his right that he will do everything possible if that means that the team management will say, listen, bat in the middle order. But is that the best use of KL Rahul? Because it then feels like, and I'm giving you the other perspective that comes from people who aren't necessarily in agreement with recalling KL. It does feel like at times, I'm not saying that's the exact thing, but it feels like the team management is trying to ensure that a KL Rahul is in the team come what may, and that works against him. It's the same with the Pandya thing. With Pandya, it tends to, the frustrations that they have of the way Rohit has been treated comes out on him. Same with KL. The frustrations generally stem from team management, but you can't boo team management. The public faces the player. So the player ends up getting it.
He's the soft target in that sense. By the way, he did get booed today at the Arun Jaitley Stadium.
Did he?
Yes.
Yeah, they were chanting Rohit at him also.
Yeah. Which is, I think, again, it just...
It goes a whole different...
It goes, yeah. So, Mayank Madan is saying, if KL goes to T20 World Cup, will switch off cricket forever. Indian management knows how to ruin players' confidence. Sanju, Chahal, heartbroken. But Mayank Madan, the Indian team management has been doing this for the past 5 years.
I mean, even a Kuldeep, people always, the easy target is, KKR ruined him. Because the Indian team did know better.
Yeah.
He was benched consistently. He played well in test matches overseas. Then didn't get a test overseas for years.
Yeah.
And where did that next test come? Bangladesh. Overseas, it seems.
Yeah.
Oh, what's sea? The Bay of Bengal?
I mean,
this time when he played at Dharamshala, the same venue where he made a test debut
7 years ago.
7 years ago, and this was only his 11th test match.
Exactly.
They raise you up so high only to drop you down further. So that is the thing.
Ashish Dhar says that unless the selection committee forcefully drops seniors, nothing in Indian cricket will change. Ashish, that's the thing. You thought you saw that happening, but then once again, you're back to the same old.
My Ashish Dhar. Man, that's revolutionary. But what is it for? Revolutionary. That's a utopian thought. It's never happening. So that's the thing. Any other further? Sai Krishna Thakur saying they can't just bring in Rowe and leave VK, which will create chaos. Neither they are wanting to leave Rowe. If Rowe plays in VK, definitely, and sadly, young blood is dropped.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like a bit of a package deal sort of a situation.
Yeah.
And so it's that 1+1 thing that you get at departmental stores.
Exactly.
Right now, it's that situation. You pick one, you get the other, and that's not what I'm saying. It's just a feeling that exists in cricketing circles right now, and possibly Sai is right over there. That
although I don't
will that see it's gone on the eras of accountability, answerability, and press conferences, where statements would be put out, where questions would be addressed, where sentiments will be taken care of. Right now, who wants to do all of that?
Snapping back to reality, what he just said. I mean, all those should happen, but it never happens. Exactly. So let's take the final comment.
Project Mo, I think, has an interesting point, short point, but very good. He says that Pant at times seems to struggle, while Sanju just looks natural. Wholeheartedly tend to agree with Pant. At times, even when he tends to go for big shots, you feel like he's hitting them out of his skin. Whereas with Sanju, more often than not, you look at it and you're like, this guy is such a classy player, and yet he's able to muscle it the way he does. It's a very good combination to have.
I mean, yes, see, the knock that he played today, with Pant, you would have had to say, okay, come on, Pant, do it. Oh, we are nervous.
Stop, just go right down.
Yeah.
I had one interesting, slightly low. Yeah, Fit Monk, I want to take his comment, but you finish your point first, then I'll take it.
So, as I said, with Pant, it feels like an effort. But with Sanju, the last 6 that he hit.
It's the fact that they're both different players. Sanju is more about timing, and Pant comes from that school of thought, I'll go for brute power. The idea is to just clear the boundary.
But even with Sanju, when he muscles them, he does tend to have that underrated ability. Yeah, he's very much a timing player. But when he comes down to sometimes muscling it, my God.
We've seen that celebration from him as well, right? A few times.
Yes, he did. But I think that today that celebration was a giveaway. I think
he knows.
The stars have aligned. He knows. I think he's there.
He won't be too
away.
It's
not just about that. I think he also knows the chatter that was doing the round. And he knows that a knock like this would be enough to dispel any notions regarding that. That listen, you cannot just forget about me. Do not forget me. You've done it enough times in the past. Don't do it again. That one comment which I really wanted to take, by the way, from Fitmonk, he's saying that now only Dhoni making a comeback with gloves can take away Sanju Samson's inclusion in the World Cup side. No stopping otherwise. I love his confidence.
We hope so. We really, really hope so. Because a KL is a left field selection, honestly.
He is.
It is. And that might be the only other factor. So, we've had 4 contenders, if you look at it. I mean, but a word on Yashasvi Jaiswal. Actually, he didn't do well today also. But
Yeah,
I
I
think
was worrisome. Again, his form has been up and down. But again, I always expect that with players who are like that. Because if you're going to be aggressive more often than not, there are going to be lean patches. You should account for that rather than only look at, he scored these many runs at this average.
exactly.
Not fair.
Yashasvi is going to be looked at, let's say, an Australia looks at a Glenn Maxwell. The day that they fire the players of that ilk, the returns are such that, in Yashasvi's case, the match is pretty much done and dusted in the power play, regardless of whether you're batting or bowling first.
Exactly. So last Satish B. Samson should play for Sena team. It's right. Well, it's not happening. You can only try for England.
It's
but
not a case of him being picked in the auction by another country.
I know.
Doesn't quite work like that.
So yes, Sanju, KL, Pant all did their bit today. Tomorrow is
And a phenomenally good Super Sunday, by the way. 2 very good matches.
GT versus RCB at the Narendra Modi Stadium. That's the day game. And followed up by Chennai Super Kings versus Sunrisers Hyderabad at Chepauk.
So Super Saturday is done with. Super Sunday is now what we have to look at.
And with this result, 8 teams still have a chance for 3 positions.
At least until tomorrow, where we might very well get to see.
Yes, we might get to see a lot more. So that's about it, folks. Thank you so much. We are just building up not just for the IPL business end, but 1st May. That is the key date.
It's D-Day.
It's D-Day.
How many contenders tomorrow, though?
You've got a Gill.
You've got a Gill tomorrow.
Kohli, as always.
I mean, Kohli, there's definitely going to be a spotlight.
I got that
DK.
50 at 118 the other day.
DK. And then CSK, SRH, are there any contenders?
CSK, Jadeja.
Jadeja.
Actually, Jadeja's
You
form
look at
will be a
Jadeja.
spotlight on.
Yeah.
SRH, not so much.
SRH, Abhishek Sharma yet again, but I don't know.
He's not in contention.
See, Yuvraj Singh has stated that it will take him time. I do agree with him. I think he needs another 2 years.
Not just another 2 years. He's coming in at a position which is so chock-a-block.
Yeah, it is.
It's a top order bat. I mean, I'm sorry, no disrespect to Abhishek, he's done phenomenally, but top order bats in India are dime a dozen.
I know. So that's why, these are the 4 guys that, as far as other bowlers are concerned, no, I don't think.
No, there's no one who comes to mind.
No one
who's in contention. But it'll be interesting to see.
Siraj.
Oh, yes.
Big game for Siraj tomorrow. So, that is the thing. We are all looking at the contenders now. This IPL 3-4 games has got a lots and lots of backdrop to it. So tomorrow join us for Super Sunday at 3 p.m. Me, Harshit, Shane and Nikhil will all be there. So thank you so much, folks. Tap that bell icon so when we go live. Don't forget we're on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. Good night. Shabba khair.
Nandri, Shabba khair,
Shubhratri.
Eat your vegetables.
And don't trouble your mother. Join us on Super Sunday.
Most important. Bye.
Bye-bye.